welcome back. Okay. Here we go, I guess. This seemed pleasant. I don't know. Okay. So I've been looking at... Just looking around, really. Since my last video, I was like, you know, there's something to this. If I look a little more, maybe I can find something. So I started looking around. I decided, you know, I should make one of these animations. And just kind of... First, I really made sure everything, like, looks pretty much like a boundary is there. The boundary on this one's pretty subtle. Like down here, we can see a boundary coming in. It's pretty close. It's not exact, but like up here also boundary, pretty close. Up here, boundary, like that little indentation's pretty much spot on. If we look maybe over here, that's pretty close to there. So the point is, it's pretty good. So that was my objective. Because I was like, you know, I've looked at this area a lot, like this. I've looked at it like this a lot. Here's the north terminal. Looked at this like eyeball at the center of this ring thing going on that expands out further to generally occupy this space, and that is adjacent to one here. That is adjacent to where Mjolnir crater is. I'm not sure exactly where that is. Might be more over this way, like here. But then there's over here, there's signs of it, like here, and just the roundedness. Maybe there. Something repetitively happening up here that opens the North Pole region to segment it from the continents in essence. When it wasn't before, like they were closer to the point where this region was, it seems, all the way over here. Like this segment, that's kind of what I was thinking when I was talking about it yesterday, although I don't know how many of those things are going to stick long term. It's always like, okay, that didn't actually linger, which is probably good because it was wrong kind of thing sometimes. But I was looking at this. I'm just like, it would be nice to look at it like this, because now we can see like this circle thing is really there for some reason, or like this here is really there in the terrain. In this like region where the mountains bend, it's like nooked in there. Like right in here. I'm like, are you okay, computer? It just made a noise that was like, I'm dying. Dude, you have like 20 tabs and you're recording. What are you doing? I can't handle it any longer. But, that led to me realizing, oh yeah, like this region here is right here, which is really where this spike is. That looks kind of like it's got a potential location where the sphere of Hawaii was, and maybe here. Like there's one over here. That's not that common. I don't know if there's really any random location like over here. I guess there's a bigger one, but I mean just like a spot like this. There's one kind of there, and then there's the one at the beginning of the Hawaiian hotspot trail, or seamount trail, not hotspot, because it's really the decaying of this sphere as it rolls in the currents to its final resting place, where all of its components are displayed in this chain. But I was thinking also, like, just a thought, it goes down relatively straight here and then bends. But if we go like, so suppose it was over here in this region, maybe like along this trail, that then as it went through here kind of led to a new boundary, maybe like this ring interacting around it as it rolled through. That would be crazy. And then just like depositing material in the currents as it passes through, shaping this though and reacting with it. But then like opening the space so it's over here. I don't know, so I was having thoughts like that. That's kind of what I've been doing today. I looked into expanding Earth. Some expanding Earth stuff that I thought was interesting. But here's that. Here's the slides. Because Twitter doesn't really have high resolution GIFs of this very easily doable. So I just put some, like, here's the full, and then some you can kind of see between the two to see the terrain. But it kind of, I was imagining in my head, let's just say there's a sphere over here forming between the Ecuadorian secondary mantle puncture hole location that is actually imprinted over here and producing a jet stream going this way, but from over here into this region where it's going up generally along North America, cutting between North America and Australia et al, and flowing this way up to even like a place it was maybe going most, a direction generally. I don't know if that's where it ended up going or if that's where it was initially going. Maybe initially it was going more that way. And like literally the sphere of Hawaii went through this way. Goes up here. But before, or maybe that's not going there though. Maybe it did go through this way. Like, through here, ramped. It literally jumped over top. Ramped over here and landed there, kind of thing. I don't know. Or off. Like, ramped downward. Like, bounced downward off of the overlying terrain that was riding it here. Then it bounced down and came back up over here. Let's see, is it I don't see any like marks of the sphere in this location particularly. I'm not sure if I'm looking at it right. We gotta look at, let's say right here, 60.5 north, 147 west, 60.5. Oh, okay, it's right there. I'm just thinking of ways this could have happened. Where it ended up hitting resistance. Like it's flowing into resistance, but it's not being overwhelmed by the resistance, so it's moving Hawaii northward. The current itself that Hawaii is riding as overall, and it goes until it actually runs into some form of resistance, and I'm thinking it's this current flowing through this way, squeezing through between these, so there's like a pinch point here, so it creates more resistance here to a point where there's like eddies that had to form here to get it through the tight pressure. So it like runs into that situation over there and just kind of boom, stops there. Goes in though underneath. My thought is it's flowing initially underneath the crust and isn't like physically rolling or anything on the surface as this huge sphere in a more apparent way. But it comes over here, and that's like really this spike. I think is where it kind of stops. It looks like it might have like even gone over here and like went back this way or something. Some maximum point or like a bending point where it falls back down the other way, like gravity. Like, it's like jumping. But then the force from the opposing direction begins to overwhelm it, so it just starts falling over here, kind of. Does this turn, and then starts going this way. But it, like, interacts with this space to create this like nova where it then moves over here maybe. So like, let's see, we got that location, this location, this location. Like, let's see what it's kind of going on there. Let's see what's going on there. I was just looking around for any, like, evidence of some kind of circular thing. It's like, maybe here. Like it rested against here as it went back this way. Like it's catching it and then it's going back that way. But then it goes, it seems, to this location, and then something goes on over here where it seems to have gone down this way and over to here. This location. So it's like potentially flowing across this way and over here and hitting resistance in a way that it creates this interaction here, this corner, this hard corner, which also happened at the Idaho, Western Idaho shear zone, just saying. Which is over here the other way too, where the corner is like this way. Somewhere around here there's like a corner in this shear zone that I'm like, did Hawaii participate in that? On its path north it kind of bumped around a bit. Boop, shear zone. Comes over here. Boop, some other stuff, whatever's going on here with this maybe, I don't know. Comes down over here. Not sure what it would like do to interact in that way, but then goes down this way and this way. Like here's that mountains. Here's that thing downward in mountains. So the blue path over here, like in this region, is actually over here. And it looks like it might have made it there, just based on the, like if there's a sphere rolling, maybe it kind of stopped in that area a little bit and bent this way before hitting like harder resistance. Or maybe not stopped, but like pivoted, changed its direction of its flow over here. And then I was thinking, that it went underneath and came back through over there somehow. I don't know exactly how I wanted to show. Because, like, this way, if we interpret this as like a compressional stress that's most like in line with the direction of travel of the Hawaiian sphere, basically. This meaning it's hitting at that angle that's perpendicular, I guess, or parallel with this length. Perpendicular with this length, or parallel with this length, perpendicular with this length.
NFL Sunday Ticket is
Oh no. Why? Make me notice. Freaking. I tried to play it through embed, but it didn't allow it. I thought it wouldn't have ads. But, so that to me would imply that maybe its motion was generally this way, in essence. Which goes to like here. Which is interesting, because that's really where this bigger notch is. There's notches down here, like a sphere maybe interacted along the way. But maybe this is also, and this is also, but I don't know why that one would be so small. But it looks like it points generally here. And then maybe here has some backstop, like a pivot point, like turning, where you physically create a mound as you turn, like on a dime, if you will, like in the dirt. Create a mound, and it turns between this, though, widening this, participating in the spacing, and goes down this way. So I also saw, so I started looking like, what about like this? I don't know if I've seen data specific to this location where they really have looked at it over here. Like it's green, which is really in the general time frame when the Emperor Seamount chain was forming, beginning to form, the very beginning. So my point is maybe the surrounding seafloor here is generally forming as this flows through, and possibly even segmenting from over here, where this was connected. Was this connected? Was this connected? I feel like I was thinking this was connected this way when this was over here, but maybe it connected multiple times in multiple ways that created like actual connection points that are still visible, but not like the most recent ones like this, like the chakra connections. So I was thinking stuff like that. Let's see what else we got here. So we got that, and then I found an image from this paper, Nikishin et al. Where is it? I guess I can just click it. Which will be in the Twitter. I'll link the Twitter threads. I just kind of scrolled through for images. I didn't really look at this paper. Like, I was like, okay, here's some images. I was trying to look into this region, the Gakel Ridge, and just this region, but I think I was specifically looking for that. But I came across that image that I posted. This. And this is what I found interesting, is this yellow region says Cenozoic or latest Cretaceous Cenozoic rifting with. So there's signs of rifting in the Cenozoic or latest Cretaceous Cenozoic. And then the green around it, which is only really here, like if we look at the overall map, it's only here. But the green is Cretaceous rifting, which I looked up. Aptian to Albion is 121.4 to 100.5. So green is in that time frame, which, mind you, is highly related to Baja BC dates, because there's this current stream coming up the west coast of North America that seems to even have brought Hawaii to this location. I don't know if I don't know if the West Idaho shear zone originally formed later. I think it did, which would make them require different systems involved. Anyway. But, so there's that. Where, like, let's say, let's just suppose for a moment this sphere is coming through generally this way. Over and through this way. And then it goes over through this region, presumably, like over to here. I'm just thinking, like, whoa. All these things interacting, who knows when the sphere of Hawaii was even the sphere of Hawaii and not some other sphere that reacted and like changed in the process over and over. I'm just thinking, like, does this feed into here too? Okay, but point is, this sphere comes over here from this way. So, I forgot what I was talking about. What the hell was I talking about? You freaking... Oh, yeah. And then it came through that region, right? Specifically this region. Which I believe I mapped... No. Maybe. Yes. No. That's not it. I didn't map that region, but I mapped these regions. These are the orogenies. So there's rifting in the Cretaceous and Cenozoic, but then there's late Paleozoic orogeny, early Mesozoic orogeny here that I thought were interesting, so I just marked them out because they're located at this like nucleus, specifically in those locations here. It's hard to see. There's the which one was that? The late Paleozoic orogeny, which is, I think, like 252. Is that when that one ends? Yeah. Oh. I.e. at the Permian Triassic boundary, this orogeny occurs. That is at this, like, eddy center, I guess, is the best way to put it in my mind. Where it formed like a current flow that ultimately made this nucleus type structure that's so, because it's so massive, it's seen as an actual orogeny. Orogeny. Origin. South Tamir origin. Early Mesozoic. Let's see, Mesozoic. So pretty much afterwards, maybe in the same process though. So it forms this one at around the Permian Triassic boundary, like probably participating in it. Playing a major role because there's a current trying to like get through here, but it's building. This is my thoughts. It's trying to get through into this region, but there's pressure there. It's coming across and running into resistance here because here is the mantle puncture hole So it had a pressure of a current flowing up this way. Like fanning out this way, I guess. As like a lobe that was applying pressure. It just got overwhelmed by this other current. But in order for it to do that, it had to create the Permian Triassic extinction event by this eddy forming up here. That then, when it really started to compact and become structurally more defined by making an orogeny, I guess, it really was able to give the precise conduit paths for currents to focus through the resistance and really break this boundary here, because it spirals off of it, like it goes around and then through. So it breaks this boundary, while another larger one kind of maybe holds this boundary. Against the mantle puncture hole pressure again. That's generally applying a pressure this way, but then this current flows down and divides and does other things. But that's when it gets through, is the KT, or the Permian Triassic boundary. So it's interesting that there's orogenies that really point to that being what happened up there. That time frame is significant up there. I didn't realize, so I thought that was pretty important. And then there was Cretaceous rifting, or no, sorry, early Cretaceous flood basalts up here, which I just noted. Maybe it was like a nucleus, like it formed. First, it formed a inner layer by this Tamir origin, and then an outer ring, and it really began to have more structure at that point. Even maybe some sort of boundary, like over here kind of thing going on, that formed, observed as like this thing. But then it perhaps formed like a nucleus up there that got moved apart, though, as this flood basalt that like erupted at its nucleus. And maybe moved. I don't know if there's any evidence of it moving. I don't know. Distracting myself too much. Let's move on entirely and go talk about the rest of this thought pattern. So let's just assume Hawaii's doing some cool stuff. But this current's going this way. And I was thinking maybe another current is generally going this way and around at like a width that ends up pushing against over here, like along a boundary and severing. But then it ends up building a channel of more so water, a water flow channel that like wraps back this way and around. Maybe it's all water in different states that's transporting all this material, that over time it cools and then like drains out of the rock. I don't know. But in essence, like a large flood is flowing everywhere. So maybe a big portion of this jet stream coming from the secondary mantle puncture hole region is water flowing this way that then starts to apply pressure off of this side. But over time it spaces from it, so this current stops flowing directly at it anymore, and it basically has this boundary of the bottom of this current flowing off this way that goes to that system, the secondary mantle puncture hole location. So it effectively moves that out of the way. Like there's some mass here, Australia and New Zealand, that then between the two, a current is flowing into South America and the resistance of Africa and deflecting off of it, as well as just everything else behind it, where it deflects off of it into Australia. But then it starts to like add mass and create a new continent, Zealandia, that just kind of takes form. But as it does that, the Earth is expanding, so the current's like direction of travel is, I guess it's more able to bend in part two. Like as it spaces apart, it's able to bend away. I'm just thinking there's an actual channel of water that preferentially was going generally this way at this boundary through here. And then maybe there, I was thinking to here. I guess maybe. Because I'm like, what is going on here? I was thinking about this area, to kind of look at the area that got me thinking was here, where we got this like Hershey kiss shape here. I was like, well, if I look at this, like here, up to kind of around here, and then something like that, like maybe there's another one there. And if that's the case, that's odd. So I started thinking about it, and then I was like, well, there's also, like, there's a current flowing, like a path here. There's a path here, but there's a path here, and then there's like a diagonal thing across. I was thinking maybe there's over to like this region and around is another like Hershey kiss shape. And maybe even back here, there's something of that nature. I was like, why would it do that? And I was thinking maybe this current, some water current is flowing across during the flood. Some like really focused current, not like some balance point, I guess, that then the boundary currents are caused to go faster next to each other. At the boundary. Where it basically has a jet going through here. So I was thinking about it like that. Is this like the jet specifically flowing this way? And then I thought, well, what if it like flows through that way? It comes over here. Like if I zoom out, like there's kind of like a flow path here this way that suddenly isn't going this way as much in appearance. Like, it looks like it's going this way across here, and then it looks like maybe like across this way. And I was thinking, that's interesting. Like, is it possible that there's some current coming in and across this way, above here, and above Tarim Basin, across this way, that then starts to run into the resistance? So imagine there's a water current that's like top-down water current that's going into the layers of the crust, and cutting across this way, and then there's a bottom-up magma current below the crust flowing this way that ends up bending above this and going this way. But maybe it's also bending around some current that's cutting across here. Like from one of these going across this way, or this way. That's Tarim Basin, so it'd be going like here, I think. Like this whole thing is Tarim Basin. So it'd have to be going along this general stretch. Right above that.
YouTube is the new home of NFL Sunday Ticket. Watch all your favorite NFL
It's kind of what makes sense, honestly. If this bend happened right after, like this strong current's going across, that this has to pass. So it just goes past it and then it goes to the right. So it like has this tight corner here that it has. It can go this way, but it also has this corner to go like around it. And then this space where this stuff's going on between it. Really, this points to that huge shallogram structure that kind of just goes across here. Like there, even. Looks like back that way. Over here. I don't know. Yeah, but so, like, there's this current going across, and then there's this current, presumably, going, like, rather in a slender current, just like a focus channel, focus path of current. But then it runs into this cross current, which is strong enough to pass it, but it's ultimately going over this way. But it passes this cross current. Then we got ourselves a current that's bending this way, like over this way. And contributing to the formation of the Himalayas. I mean, they formed west to east. There's clear evidence of water interaction in the process. All the things I've seen, like it makes sense that it's ultimately stemming from a current flowing this way that's going across and interacting. I don't know if it's like building a magnetic anomaly there, really. It doesn't look like it. I mean, there's nothing there, but what we can see, I think this region, maybe some down here, doesn't really have like distinct magnetic anomalies. What it really has is this ammonite around it in its sort of vicinity. Mantle puncture hole and then the big ammonite. I guess to bend the current in its resistance, maybe. Almost like it's bending it back in a wave pattern up that way. That just kind of fizzles out and becomes a wave pattern itself. Cuts across though. Like that looks like a channel. Maybe there. Maybe it does go above this one. No, it's not. I think that way. Oh yeah, there's probably something coming across this way too. There's so much to consider here. I was trying to think about it in terms of, though, like a current flowing and running into resistance, where it then branches off in multiple pathways that then create similar structures like this Hershey kiss up here, but maybe create similar structures like this, but over here, opposite. I know I've kind of talked about that kind of thing before, but this like connection to running into a resistance and like segmenting, it just seems like something that's going on there. And it's like bending, like it doesn't just go straight wrap around the world, it actually bends here and creates like a knuckle, like an elbow, or then bends off this way. And worth noting, like it specifically bends off to the eye of the Regrette structure. So it goes this way, bends, and goes like through here, across here, interacting with all the other currents, but like happening as well to be involved in the process of shaping the whole. But then it goes there and does that, and I was like, you know, like there's this, there's this, there's this, 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 maybe there. I feel like I'll put them over there too, and generally just because like, if we follow this way, this boom, 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 boom-ish. Like it seems like they generally trend across there, which is there. Let's see where that relates to this. That's like right out the nozzle. It's almost like a rattlesnake tail or something, but out the tip. Right out the tip, like right there. Is here, which kind of like points over at those. So it's probably related to whatever these are. I don't even know if they're named or recognize features of the ocean floor. Also, the spreading around them is really clear. Something else is, like there's actual spreading this way too. And this way. But it really does it this way. So I guess when the Caribbean started to open, it was really opening over here and then moving away. Probably because some current flow is flowing in here, a focus current, maybe from here that went up this way, across, it went over this way. When it was like here though. From this structure, like one of these arms branching off and going across, maybe, like, I don't know, like there, and going like across, whatever length exactly, where it then reached over here though. But there's the eye of the Regrette structure, eye of the Sahara. In this path that's flowing through this way, bending and flowing through this way. And then here,
NFL Sunday Ticket is now starting at $39 for the rest of the 23 season. So, you can watch your favorite team in the race to the playoffs.
frickin'. Which one is this? Canary Islands or Cape Verde? Cape Verde. Like outside of the nozzle is Cape Verde. And then really, like branching off sooner here and going this way is Canary Islands. Like related to the process of these current flows. Oh snap. Okay. I was thinking more technical things I might be able to, in terms of the way it does this, might be there. But it's not coming to mind right now. I don't want to just think too much. Whoa. Too late. Oh shit, it's like this astronaut guy is riding this current bends. And he's like riding the current like a rocket ship. I was thinking, okay, where is that happening? Like in terms of over here. Like maybe that current is coming out and applying pressure on these things as this gap starts to open, just like fracturing open. But it's holding pressure on these materials. Because if we follow this way, to like this one, let's say, it really goes over here. Like pretty far, like even to Florida maybe. Dakar. It's a little south. So it'd really be coming out there. Which would I guess have Florida in there. Or it probably joined the current going this way. Underneath, I guess. Good. Is it all just water moving things? That I'm not certain of. Like how much water contributes to undercurrents too, where it's just like below and above there's a lot of water going on. A lot of water going on. Because then if there was, it could like cut through and go down to the other water until it could move the earth material enough to start to like cause friction between it all and maybe like induce all the things that we see and like separate the materials and things, but really just by the power of water. That seems a little surprising if it were to be. Okay, so then I posted this. Reading an expanding Earth paper, came across a true polar wander map, which I've been inspecting, and I noticed some things, namely at 144 million, the Pacific superplume moves from near the Australian Ammonite to the location where Ontong Java Nui formed. So here, it's kind of hard to see. This is the Australian, like the tip. Like right here. Australia shape is over here. So here is Papua New Guinea. Here is Baja California. I was pretty surprised. It's like, well, he doesn't have all of it. But he's got the Baja Papua New Guinea alignment in place. at 215. But then here, like, basically, if we go over here, like, here's the boundary of Australia here, which is, like, just to the side of this, which is a Pacific super plume that started in that area, apparently. And at 144, it moves here. Or this is me labeling Australia, Papua New Guinea, Baja California. At 144, it moves here. So notice Papua New Guinea, Baja, Pacific super plume structure that they're. This is what they say. Hypotheses I have made concerning the influence of the superplumes on global increasing radius geodynamics, and my paleogeographic reconstructions are in favor of a slow drift through geological time of the Pacific superplume figure 11, which I was just showing, from its Triassic position near Asia, northern hemisphere, which they said Asia. Like, what about Australia? Towards its actual southern hemisphere position under Nazca triple point. So this is now under the Nazca triple point. Both the pattern and ages of the western Pacific Ocean floor volcanism and the... I just kind of took his word for it on this. I haven't really looked into what this rest is. I just underlined it. The Darwin rise appear as the trace of the slow southeastern displacement of the superplume. This migration from northwest to southeast passing the equatorial line should also have had other detectable geodynamics consequences. So this is an Earth expansion model framework. Which does exist, they just tend to accept radiometric dating as like the actual ages and not waver from that. At 80 million, during the time of the Baja BC accretions to Canada and the US from Baja. So it's not... Oh, I meant to show this too. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Not this. Feel like I put it in this. Dudes. Check it out. Let's go back one though. Okay, I guess just restart that. Pardon me if I ended it early, I just didn't want it to. Anyway. The hotspot at 80 million. Still generally there. And where he's drawing it. I guess I didn't go back. I was trying to go to... Where's the 140? Oh, whatever. 145. I guess this is the one that's really this way. Where the Ontong Java Plateau is forming. Entente Java Nui complex, all of it, Shatsky Rise is probably forming initially over here. And then the Mid-Pacific Mountains, which then blocks this channel of current flowing like out this way. So it gets focused more this way, where then it builds Entente Java Nui and interacts to create this spot over here that was closer at the time before it opened the gap between them. And then here it's still near Baja, California at 80 million, which is, well, not Baja, BC is still active. But then we go to 57 million and it's moved a bit further this way, which Baja BC is still going on, but it's moved to like outward from here. So it moved from over here to outward from here, almost like it broke this bond at that point, like it was here. This Pacific super plume flowing through, breaking bonds in some way, where it broke this bond, and then it got through here, broke this bond, where then it was like at the KT boundary kind of time frame. And then the Earth started to rapidly expand, and it broke this bond down here. So it propagated, and if we look at this, that's where it is now. Whatever he's measuring exactly. Pacific super plume. Its position is not that close to South America, is it? Whoa, that's right next to Fiji on that one. Oh my god, I can't click a freaking better image. It's almost like it broke the bonds down over here, but it was actually with this crust, and then essentially just started to fill in with spreading ridge that formed afterwards. But really the initial crust was over there. What the fuck? Pacific super plume. Guess is that. Whoops. Rhodinian slab graveyard. That's interesting. There's some like boundary to whatever they're defining up here that does not include where the Hawaiian sphere rolled through. Just saying. Whoa. Pardon me. Okay, if I'm just gonna look at things. Cuts through there. Does it bend again? I don't know. There's here, the region of maximum asymmetrical expansion, according to this paper. This one. Expanding Earth, a sound idea for the new millennium by Giancarlo Sciarra? Je sais pas. Meh. This also has this image, figure 18, where it shows a asymmetrical, the region of maximum asymmetrical expansion by the violet zone. So see violet zones in figures. So notice there's a violet zone here, just next to Australia. And then there's a violet zone presently down here. I thought it was kind of interesting. It's going, like if we predict a future 250 million years from now, its motion is like towards the South Pole. It's almost like it moved from pole to pole. And at 50 million, I didn't mention this. In this one, if we go here, so at 57 million, it passes the equator. And then at present, it's over here. But this is all related to the true polar wander, which is like, this is where it was 225 million, 144 million, 80 million, 57 million, and then expansion, and it goes back. This has them really tight in the north until then. 57 million. I guess they were. Let's go back here too. It's trying to see if they had similar connections between Asia and North America that I was kind of envisioning. Because if you look closely here, I think this is the one. Here's Australia, right? Here's Borneo, like right at its corner. I'm like, I ain't the only one. So I looked over here, it has it like not there, but that's okay. It's pretty close. And then right next to it, same picture. And then Papua New Guinea's way over there. I guess Borneo is just kind of in place. I can't really see it anymore. Wherever it's drawn. But then we see it over here at 57 million more clearly. Maybe I was looking in the wrong spot. I don't know. But we see it pretty clearly at 57 million over there. So he drew it from coming up from the north there. Like this animation. I was pretty stoked when I saw someone else was doing that at all in their expanding Earth considerations, where it's like this. I mean, not this one specifically was near here, near this corner. Near enough to this corner that I'm like, they're leaning towards that same location. Maybe not to it, but towards it. And then maybe not including these things, but still. But yeah, so then it goes past the equator, and this goes back the other way. It's almost like it was sending off some other pole that, like, in order to pass the point of no return, like a runaway supernova, like it has to start to produce iron, if you will, so it, like, to move this secondary system focus point, kind of like a pole, to move this other pole that's kind of dividing off the first pole to a new location. It needs to exceed the halfway point, at which point, like, then the expansion of the Earth is, like, pretty much expedited, and like that really start to happen, like approaching this time frame when this system's moving from pole to, like, create another counterpoint, another pressure point, another chakra, another node, another whatever, another nub. Okay, so that's all I got for now. Yeah, that's all I got. I could just kind of meander through what I was looking at. I think I was just trying to find where the poles were at certain times. This one gave poles like above. Southern Tibet is near Greenland when the pole. The Cretaceous paleomagnetic poles representative of some parts of Eurasia. Poles shown by star. Star is Eurasian mean. And poles labeled I, Indochina, T, Southern Tibet, SC is pole, previous Cretaceous pole from South China, I guess. K is Cretaceous pole from South Korea. N is Nanjing area. S is Western Sichuan. So there's some poles. That's cool. I don't know why I read all that. You guys can obviously see that, but got a little in the zone.
So you think you know Wix?
Okay, music. I really should have found something I could embed. I can't use it if I can't embed it, because it puts ads. So I was reading this one on it's a book on paleomagnetism, but I was like, I forget what exactly I was trying to find someone talking about how the reverse magnetism is, if it's like physically making a magnet's attraction switch, or if it's like attractive and non-attractive kind of thing, like if it's just off. because it matters, like which one it is. If it's actually like reversing its magnetism. I mean, they say reverse, but I'm not sure if it like is just shorthand for not exhibiting these strong magnetic properties that then is detectable. And there's periods when it like produces this detectable magnetic anomaly, and there's periods when it doesn't. Or if it's truly reversing, so it seems like the North Pole is actually reversed. Like, that's totally different. So I was trying to find, like, which one is it? Like, which one actually is it? I know what the word means, reversed. But, like, I gotta make sure I really have a precise understanding on this detail. Trying to find it because it's hard to find something random like that without just, like, maybe going through a more rigorous step-by-step book on the matter. So I was trying to I found a book on the matter. It's like, oh yeah, I could get a book on the matter. I couldn't find it still. I still couldn't find it with certainty. But what I did find was whatever I was just saying. What did I find? This I thought was interesting. The polarity is even like going down. So that's worth noting. Like, it's not just going like sideways where the ocean floor is spreading, which is more commonly a thing, but it's also going down in layers. Like, this is, I believe, not data from the ocean floor. I don't believe this is data from the ocean floor. It might be. Like, some of it becomes data from the ocean floor, like this one, deep sea piston core. Let's see if that says something like that. It just doesn't explicitly say. Auxiliary information from marine magnetic anomaly profiles and deep sea core paleomagnetism has also been used to determine the polarity timescale. So auxiliary information. So this is not, like, this is actually some rocks in layers that also have almost like a horizontal distribution of this magnetism structure. Makes me think of like a matrix, like some subtle structure layering that's like a matrix, where there are grids, like a fabric, that aren't just in one way, they're in many ways that they interweave and make reality. And this is like one angle that we see it more broadly displayed, but it happens across all scales, kind of thing. I'll try to find this paper. Surprisingly, I don't think I can find this paper. It's like the origin. Maybe this one. This might actually describe. Is it change in the, okay, no. I mean, it says reversed. Reversal occurrences are statistically random. I'm like, this is some Morse code shit right here. God damn. What does this say? Like these periods and how it's happening. How does this relate to fundamental processes that is so epic when really compared, and like the patterns are able to be overlain? There's gotta be something. Decay process, something. Okay, I don't want to get too distracted. This is all I could find of the actual paper. Then I started looking at the Cretaceous normal superchron, which is this period when there's just no reversals, which is also during the Baja BC type stuff going on. So like that's why it matters. Like if it's just if it's a physical change in the direction, so that the North Pole of the Earth, according to actual grains of magnetic material, is the South Pole, and it's pointing somewhere. Generally, like an actual South Pole. I don't know if I've ever seen the South Pole equivalent. Like I've always seen them map it, like the one I was looking at that were all North Pole locations. I've never seen anyone map it to South Pole. They must exist. I'm gonna have to look into that. But like it's probably some time when some overwhelming direction of current flow takes over, and there's not, like they're almost like taking turns, like one overwhelms one direction, but then it feels more pressure on the other side, which then kind of like responds back, and then responds back. And then responds back by just like compressing and just like sending a wave of energy kind of thing back and forth between currents coming out from under the crust, eastward versus westward, versus if they went north, south, like all the nuances where then they start to collide. But then they start to like actually do something more like distributed, where one like takes over and produces a layer, the other produces a layer, then the other produces a layer, and like actually interchanging the one that's like winning the capillary action battle or something on some fractal scale that's creating all these little channels relatively. Oh no, it's beautiful. Dude, I live with it. What? No. Man, my voice, it's beautiful. It's not that funny. So we've got that Pacific hot super plume on that map over here. I don't know if that's really, I just thought it was interesting. It was between the chakra and that thing. Okay. I'm just gonna get out of here for now. I'll be back. Yeah. No, I don't know. Hope this was interesting. See you guys soon. Later.